Hello, everyone, and welcome to the American Family Insurance DreamBank, where we believe in the transformative power of dreams. My name is Andy Frisky. I'm a senior dream curator here at DreamBank. On behalf of our team, we are thrilled to have you with us today. As we get started, we always like to learn where you are joining us from and encourage you to share so in the comments if you're comfortable with that. For those of you who have attended our virtual or in-person events in the past, welcome back. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'd love to take a moment to introduce you to DreamBank. So here at American Family Insurance, we believe communities are stronger and the future is brighter when people are actively pursuing their dreams. That's why we created DreamBank, an inspirational community destination and digital experience that is dedicated to dreamers everywhere. Our offerings are designed to help you celebrate the dream journey, overcome obstacles, and stay motivated. Now, we'd like you to introduce you to our speaker here today, Cynthia Wade. So Cynthia is a seasoned professional with experience in marketing, headhunting, and NPO/NGO management. She's a lifelong learner with her nose always in a book. She's a communicator who trades in the currency of words, a career networker and connector of both ideas and people. Most of all, Cynthia believes in the power of the do-over. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us today. We will let you take it from here.
Thank you, Andy. It's a pleasure to be with everyone here today. Thank you very much for this invitation. What we're going to talk about today is a subject that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is what is success and how do you know when you have it? And what I'm here to share with you today is that you can choose to have success right here, right now. You don't have to wait for the job or anything else that you think that you have to have until you have success, because you can choose to have success regardless of all of those things when you choose to have success now. So we're going to dive right into this, and let me make sure that I'm going to be able to move my slide. There we go.
Bear with us for a few moments here as we try and bring Cynthia back on. Give me one moment.
So Andy, can you let me?
I'm here. Yep, I'm here.
Did you hear me through any of that?
No, I think you had dropped off the screen. I don't know if how it disconnected you, but we're still live here. So let's go ahead and
Okay.
take a moment to get you all set back up. And thank you so much of those who are just joining us here today. We had a slight hiccup. We're just getting Cynthia's slide deck back up and running, and then she will hop back in. Hey, Cynthia, just checking back in to see if.
Yeah, I lost everything, and
Oh,
I'm
shoot.
trying to get into the presentation. So I'm a little on what I need to do. So, and my computer is running incredibly slowly. Okay, here we go.
All right. So Cynthia is going to try and go at this without the slides. Sorry about about the hiccup. Cynthia, I'm going to go ahead and kick it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. So, hi everybody. I am so sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. I don't know if any of you heard this morning there have been some massive glitches across all kinds of social media that I know included Comcast and PNR or PCR or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, here we are, and I lost everything and I cannot get my slide deck to reload again. So we're going to punt. And while I was trying to make that happen, I was sharing with you that one of the things that we preach at doover.me is the value of improv for business. So all of you know about Second City, right? And the funny things that they do on stage. But do you know that Second City also has a business arm which works with all of the Fortune 500 companies to bring improv classes and workshops to business people, because the basic tenets of improv are going to be things that all of us should know, including all of us business people and all of us non-business people who just want to figure out how to improvise in a situation like this when things don't go as planned. Because let's face it, guys, how many times do things not go as planned? So we're going to talk our way through this workshop, and I'm going to tell you right at the very beginning that one of the things you're going to want to make sure you have is a piece of paper and some type of a writing implement, because you're going to want to write a few things down. And the first thing I want you to write down is my email address, which is Cynthia, Cynthia, at doover.me. And that's always spelled DOOVER.me. And if you want to get a copy of this slide deck, because I will figure out how to find it, and if you want to connect with me and talk about any of this stuff any further, offer any suggestions, or send in some of the homework that I'm going to ask you to do so that you can get a nudge from me about what it all means, I'm going to ask you to shoot me an email at Cynthia, Cynthia, at doover.me, DOOVER.me. So I was going to start off with a little bit of information about me, but we're going to skip right past that because you already pretty much know that things technical are not my strong suit. But talking like this to people and sharing information, that is one of my strong suits. So this is going to be fine. So now the next slide was supposed to be this really cool yoga picture and an admission that after all I told you about all the great things about me, one of the things I'm not so great at is telling jokes. So this visual is a picture of a person, not me, doing a yoga pose with this quote, and I hope it'll at least bring a smile to your face. It says, "My friends are posting pictures of themselves doing yoga in quarantine. I'm just happy getting my foot through my underwear without losing my balance." Well, that's what I think is funny, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's a perfect introduction, to success, because like yoga poses and putting your underwear on, it's all very personal. And all that matters in success is you and your definitions of success. So here's the three things that you're going to want to write down, because these are the three things that I'm going to want you to be able to take away from our presentation to you this morning. The first one is, I want you to know why success is important to you. Why is success important to you? That's takeaway number one. Takeaway number two is, I want you to be clearly able to articulate why success is important to you and what success means. Okay, so why it's important and what it means to you. Because as I said, everybody's definition is going to be different. And then number three, I want you to understand how you can celebrate each and every success when you achieve it. Okay, so those are the three takeaways. One, why is success important? Two, articulate what success means to you. And three, learn how to recognize when you achieve it so that you can celebrate it. And if you want to hear from me afterwards, either to receive this slide deck or to engage in a dialogue about what these things mean to you, remember to send this to me at cynthia@doover.me. Andy is going to take question and answers in the chat as we go. I'm going to try to anticipate what your questions are going to be, but just know that if it's an immediate concern, Andy will respond to it, and if not, it will be something that we will be talking about at the end of the presentation. So first and foremost, let's talk about defining success. So first of all, the thing that you have to realize is that you can get overwhelmed on this topic very quickly, because if you just Google things like what does success mean, a definition, or about success, or success quotes, you are going to literally get millions of responses in seconds. So there's plenty of stuff out there. The real challenge is to weed through it and find out what's germane to you. And that's what I'm going to try to do with you today. So again, why is success important? So according to most of what they say, success is important because it provides confidence, security, a sense of well-being, the ability to contribute at a higher level, hope, and leadership. And this is really important. Without success, us as individuals, the groups that we belong to, our companies, our goals, our dreams, our communities, our tribes, even entire civilizations will cease to survive. So there's a lot riding on us as individuals and us as groups feeling like we're successful. So that's the generally accepted definition. If yours is different, that's fine. Feel free to add to it. But remember that it can be a combination of or an exact duplicate of this one, because there are certain situations in which our definitions for these things are going to be, if not the same, very, very similar. One thing I want to remind you of, though, when you're thinking about success, try not to very tightly tie the definition or the importance of success to external things. Rather think about how you as an individual are going to feel when you achieve that thing, when you get that thing. So for example, if you want to say that success is a new job, it's really not necessarily a new job, but rather the feelings that you get when you get that new job. And what that means is when you get that new job, you may be happier. You may feel more stable financially. You may feel that you're better equipped to do the job. You may feel like you're working in an environment where you're acknowledged and appreciated. And all of those things are why you're working towards the success of that new job. It's not the new job itself that is what is going to make you feel successful. It's all of those feelings that you're going to get, hopefully, from the new job. And hey, guys, let's face it, not every new job that we've ever had has given us all of those successful feelings, right? So it's not just the job itself, but the feelings that you're going to get when you get that job, that what we're going to understand as why success is important. Okay? So take a minute now, just a minute, and write down the answer to that first question. Why is success important to you? And I'm going to give you just about 30 seconds to write down the answer to that question. Okay, that was about 30 seconds. And if you're not finished, just go ahead and finish. But I'm going to move forward with question number 2. And that is, what does success mean to me? So this is where it gets a little bit more challenging, because in order to prompt you a little bit, excuse me, what we're going to do is, first of all, tell you what they say success means. Did you ever wonder who the heck they are? I do. Every time somebody starts a sentence that says, well, they say that, blah, 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 I'm like, well, who the heck are they? And why should I be paying attention to them? But it gives us a frame of reference to start from. So we're going to go there. And this slide was a word art, and it was beautiful. I'm going to tell you, it had all these pretty colors and all these different words and all these different colors and all these different sizes. And it was very pretty. But basically, what it was saying is that they say that success usually includes things like money, toys, which can be cars or houses or vacations or jet skis or, all of those things that we surround ourselves with. It can include jobs, careers, and titles. Like, it may not be enough to just have a job in the entertainment industry, but you may want to be a producer in the entertainment industry or a rock star in the entertainment industry. So they say that when you're defining success, that those are some of the things that you have to think about. And those are at the top of their list. Also, things like caring for your body, emotional balance, which is otherwise known as emotional intelligence, focus, self-awareness, resiliency, the memories that you're making, and brain care. Those are also some of the things that they say are important. But remember, I told you at the very beginning that really what they say about all these things is not nearly as important as what you say. And that's where it's going to get a little bit more challenging, because you have to dig a little bit into who you are and what's important to you to decide whether those things that they say are what you're going to want to include, or whether you have a totally different set of things that are important to you. So what I'm going to tell you is the next slide was a beautiful, again, illustration of what I think is important. And I'm going to start off by telling you that those things that they say are important, that I mentioned first, money, toys, things, career, and titles, those aren't even on my list. They aren't. If you would have listened to the beginning and found out about me, you would have known that I only have an AA because I went to art school instead of to a university. And I've had big titles, but it's only because it's been in companies that I've founded. And the reality is that that's okay. I still consider myself a success because I define success differently than what they define success as. So in my world, the most important thing that I need in order to feel successful is good, solid, strong relationships. I want to have a good relationship with the people that are most important to me, my family and my friends. And to a lesser degree, all of you guys. I mean, I started DoOver.me 7 years ago. And I'll tell you, the very best part of it is making friends, long-term friends, with people that I can step in and help change their lives. So it's not so much the work I do that defines me as a success, although I know that that's very important to the people that I work with, but it's the relationships that I have with those people. The second thing for me is an open mind. So if you guys haven't read Carol Dweck's book about open-mindedness, you should, because she talks about an open mind being essential for us to be successful and for us to thrive in life. And what an open mind really boils down to is the ability to realize that we continue to learn and grow throughout our entire lifetime. Our brain is a muscle that is constantly churning up there and giving us opportunities to add new information to it. It doesn't ever stop like we used to think it did. And so we can constantly, throughout all of our life, be learning and growing and changing who we are and what we know and how we react to things. So 8 years ago, before I started taking improv classes, I don't know that I could have ever handled this in the same way that I'm handling it now. So that was something that really changed for me. The second thing is grit. So Angela Duckworth brought us this concept of grit, and her definition and mine are a little bit different. So when I talk about wanting to have grit as an ingredient in success, I talk about guts to do the hard thing. Some people might call it courage, but that doesn't work with the acronym, right? So I also talk about resiliency, the ability to bounce back, because it's not how many times you fall down and fail, it's how many times you get up and try again. I add imagination, because you have to be creative and you have to be curious and you have to be able to be willing to put yourself out there for new ideas. And then tenacity, that willingness to keep going at it as many times as you need to in order to get out of it what you want to get out of it. So relationships, an open mind, grit, a tribe. A tribe of like-minded people, like you guys. I'm guessing that you guys are here because you wanted to learn and grow and say, what does this lady have to say about success? And is she going to be able to tell me anything I don't already know? Well, I hope I am. And if not, call me and we'll talk more, because I'm sure that I can if I talk long enough. But the important thing is that you need to surround yourself with like-minded people so that you're feeling supported and accountable and accepted, yet pushed a little bit to be the very best that you can be. And the last thing on my list is hope. And yeah, I think hope is even more important than love. And here's why. I've lived long enough to know that love can kind of come and go. It ebbs and it flows for a lot of different reasons. That's just life if you've lived long enough. But hope, if you can hang on to hope through all of the experiences that you have, then you're always going to be able to believe that love and all the other good things in life will come back around again. And so that's why, for me, in defining what success is, relationships, myself keeping an open mind and always learning, having grit, surrounding myself with a tribe of people that are like-minded, and hope. Those are the most important things to me. There are other things too that are lesser important, which you'll see in the slide. But for right now, those are the things that I want you to remember. The next slide, and this is where it's going to get tough again, is what does it mean to you? I shared with you what they think. I shared with you what I think. But all that really matters right here, right now, is what you think. So again, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes this time, and I want you to write down the things that you think are important to you when you say, "This is success." At the end of your life, what do you want to be able to remember so that you feel like you've led a successful life? Think about that. Okay, we're going to start right now, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write down what you think, not what I think, not what they think, unless we share a similar view. What is necessary for you for success? And because you can't see the slide, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit and mention some of these words again to prompt you because you can't see them. Relationships, hope, money, stability, emotional awareness, emotional balance, body care, brain care. Two different things, people. A lot of people take care of their bodies. Not as many people know how to take care of their brain. Focus, motivation, grit, a tribe of people, resilience, courage, memories, relationships, self-awareness, an open mind, a tribe of like-minded people, emotional intelligence, caring for your body, caring for your mind, hope, love, faith, loyalty. What does success mean to you? What are the feelings that you want to have when you're experiencing an achievement, a successful moment? If you want to be a successful person now, you need to be able to identify what that means to you right here, right now. The next thing we're going to talk about is how will you know when you've achieved success? Well, this is easy. But Andy, are you paying attention? Because this is a whole nother presentation. Some of you, most of you probably, have heard of SMART goals. So a SMART goal is usually one that is smart, measurable, actually not smart, it's specific, not smart. But a SMART goal by its nature is specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, timely, and I'd add soulful. So when we help people set goals, We instead help them to get smarts. And so that means that they have a plan of action that is giving them smarts, which means that they have specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, timely, and soulful actions that they can aspire to. The soulful part is where the feelings come in, people. So, yeah, you can measure things, you can make them actionable, but you have to have the feeling part of it because success is not a thing. Success is the feelings that you get when you have that thing. So, you have to have smarts. And that means that your game plan has to be one that's specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, timely, and soulful. So as we wrap this all up here, what I want to remind you is success is always your choice. It's pieces of a puzzle, which was why there were puzzle pieces all over the slides. And they're constantly shifting. They're fluid. So if you're joining us here and you're in the beginning stages of life in your 20s and just trying to figure things out, your definition of success is going to be different than what mine is, who is at the end of life. And then there's all of you guys in the middle here in your 30s, 40s, and 50s who are going to have different definitions. They're constantly changing. Success is not one static thing. And all the smarts that you need in order to achieve that success are going to be a little different. Not all of them all the time different, but a different combination of smarts are going to be required to get you to a different achievement of success and the feelings that come along with it. So remember that it's something that constantly has to be reviewed and updated. And if you're doing this right, when you have smarts attached to each one of these achievements, you're going to know when you've achieved it. And so you're going to start to build on the successes that you have as a young person so that by the time you get to be in your 40s and 50s and then, at the end of life, 80s and 90s, you will be able to look back and say, this was a successful experience and these were the feelings that I had as a result of it. And that was a successful experience. And while you're going through it, you'll be able to look at things and say, well, I'm not sure how I'm going to get through this, but I know that I've had all of these successes in the past. And if I get my smarts out and I apply them to this definition of success that I'm going for now, that I'm going to be able to achieve whatever I set out my mind to do. So whatever life throws at you, you can improvise, call on your smarts training, apply it to this new challenge, and you're going to be successful. So by the time you get to the end of your life, even if you don't have any advanced educational degrees or you've never had a fancy car or a McMansion or been to Europe or a cruise or whatever it is that they say is success, you can say, but I'm a success because I did the things that I thought were important and they gave me confidence. They gave me security and a sense of well-being. They gave me the ability to contribute at a greater level, my hope, and my leadership. And without my contribution to that, we might not have moved forward. And if everybody says that, the whole world is going to get to be in a better place. So, as we wrap up here, we've got about 6 more minutes and then we're going to open it up for questions. I want you to reflect back on the 3 takeaways. Did you learn And can you now write down why success is important to you? Number 2, can you clearly articulate and write down what success means to you, the feelings that you're going to have? And do you now understand better how you're going to know when you've achieved success so that you can celebrate it? I hope you've been writing all this down, because I'm going to remind you that I'd like you to email it to me. And also, if you want the slide deck, or if you want to talk further, if you got any other things to share, I would love to hear from you. I want you to write it down, and I want you to email me at cynthia@dover.me, DO-OVER.ME. And you're going to get a nudge in return that's going to help you to remember all of these things at hopefully an important time when you need the reminder. Now, the next slide, which I really wish you all would write for the slide deck, because if nothing else, you'll get this last slide, which is the resources. I have listed 3 books, a series of TED Talks, and a blog that are all about success. And they have the titles and the authors and the links to the TED Talks and the links to the blog. So I'd really like to be able to share that with you and to be able to give you this information, because these books and these TED Talks and this blog has helped me to shape my definitions of all of these things. I'm going to tell you one book in case you don't write me, the one that is probably the least well known. It's a book called The Courage to Be Disliked, the Japanese phenomenon that shows you how to change your life and achieve real happiness, aka success. And it's written by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. I think if you just remember The Courage to Be Disliked, you should be able to Google it and find it without too much trouble. That's a not commonly read book. I can't remember how I discovered it, but oh my gosh, it is really an amazing journey that you can accompany this young man on as he discovers for himself what success means to him. And I encourage you to read it. Okay, so we're about at the end of the time, and I think I timed it pretty well. I told Andy I was going to be finished at about 12:45, and I think that's about where we're at. So I'd like to allow Andy to open it up now for questions and answers and comments.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Cynthia, and especially in particular to your flexibility and that improv, right? And being able to rock this presentation
Yeah.
without a slide deck. You know, as I was listening to this presentation, a lot of it to me in terms of like defining, you know, my own success, it sounds like in changing your perspective, right? And I think a lot of times with that you have self-doubt or negativity or that inner critic. And I was hoping that maybe you could speak a little bit to some tips or techniques that you have found to combat that inner critic and could share with the audience today.
I think the 2 things that I would say are the most important are, number 1, that tribe that I talked about. If you have a tribe around you of like-minded people, they will help you to remember the achievements that you've had and how you accomplish them and the feelings that you had while you were going about doing them. I think that's the biggest thing, to have that reminder and accountability piece that a tribe of people will give you. And sometimes what you have to remember about that tribe is they're not necessarily the people that are emotionally closest to you, like your family and friends. It can be in some cases, but it's sometimes important not to have it be those people, because those people serve a different kind of purpose in your life. And it's not always to hold you accountable and to gently nudge you forward. That's why most of the stars of the music world, the writing world, the athletic world, the political world have coaches or mentors. And so I think a lifelong coach or mentor is going to be somebody that's going to really help you with that. The other thing I think that's really important is to write it down. I'm a lifelong journaler, and I have journals from when I was 14 years old. And when I go back and read them, some people do that and throw them away, and there can be value in that. I'm a saver for that reason. And so I go back and look at them, and it's really a reminder of that building of successes. Well, I was worried about this then, and look how it resolved itself. I put that energy out into the world, and yes, it definitely resolved itself. So whatever I'm facing now, I'm going to have more confidence that I'm going to get through it because I've remembered what I've done in the past. So I would say, like I said, a tribe of people to help hold you accountable, a coach or a mentor, and then just your own writings to be able to remind you.
Thanks for that. This is more of a comment, but I wanted to share this with you. This comes from Kai. So stating they've heard that a tribe referred to as a Jedi Council before. So where you pick 2 to 5 close friends that you share your goals and ambitions with, so that they can keep you honest and accountable with what you're trying to achieve. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I definitely have my own Jedi Council or tribe as well. Is that not only is a sounding board for when I do have ideas, but also is able to kind of step in and provide that constructive criticism and differing viewpoint that also keeps me grounded. So great points right there. Here at DreamBank, we truly believe in the power of dreams and celebrate that our community is made up of fellow fearless dreamer. As we wrap up, we always like to ask, Cynthia, what is one piece of advice you have for someone who is pursuing a dream right now?
Make sure that the dream that you're pursuing is as close as possibly defined as the dream you really want. And I think that you do that, as I said, by thinking about the feelings that these achievements bring, these things bring, as opposed to the thing themselves. So let's go back to that job, which is what DoOver.me is all about, helping people find meaningful employment. If what you really want is a job or a new job, think about what all of the feelings are that you're going to have when you reach that goal, when you achieve that success. For those of you who maybe are not employed right now, maybe just getting a job is the start. But then don't stop there. Pivot your way towards what is really the job, the dream job. And do that by narrowing down what success really means to you. What do you need out of a job? Financial stability, meaning, the ability to have your work recognized, the ability to see how specifically you're contributing, a certain financial stability, a certain insurance package. Whatever it is, make sure you can articulate that so that as you're going out and looking for new jobs and you're interviewing for new jobs, you can be interviewing for the things that you require to make you successful. And the more articulate you can be, the more specific that you can be, the easier it is to know when you hit the right thing. And if you need help, get a coach. That's what DoOver.me is all about. You're not necessarily meant to get good at finding a job. You're meant to be good at a job, but it's my job to be good at helping you find a job. So ask for help when you need it.
This next question comes in from Ellen. Can you explain how to feel successful if you haven't made your SMART goal?
No. Because you're trying to take the easy way out. And I think you have to go through these steps. Why is success important? What does success mean to you? And what are the smarts that you need in order to achieve it? Now, having said that, you don't have to have all of them at the same time. In fact, you're much better off if you can focus especially on the big goals one at a time, or maybe two at a time, a personal one and a professional one. But I firmly believe that you are never going to be able to feel successful if you can't answer those three questions. Sorry, maybe that's not what you wanted to hear, but that's what I would have to say.
So that just about wraps up all of the questions that we have. Thank you all. Thank you, Cynthia, for putting this together. To all who are tuned in, we thank you for joining us. We look forward to continuing to learn, grow, and dream together. You can learn more about upcoming DreamBank events and content design with your dreams in mind at amfam.com/DreamBank and by connecting with us on our social channels. So if you're viewing this on our Facebook page, that is a great resource to see what events we have upcoming. On behalf of American Family Insurance and DreamBank, we look forward to hosting you again. Until then, keep dreaming fearlessly, and we will see you all soon.
And let me close with this Maya Angelou quote. Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And I'd add, it's also liking who you do it with, and most of all, why you do it. So I liked doing this with you today, Andy, and I'm happy that if all of you are going to walk away with something valuable from it. Thank you very much for having me today.
We'll see you all soon. Take care.
Thank you.